What in the 20s is going
in the
on?
20s?
Think about
The 20s, baby. Plenty.
What in the 20s is going on? 20s, baby. This is the 20s.
Welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Zamam Kize, and this is What in the 20s, a podcast where you listen to me grow through it, baby. On this episode, we're going to be speaking about how you need to stop putting things off. I am so good at that. I am so good at preparing for later, at kind of feeling like, no, there's going to be the right time. There's going to be a moment. There's going to, let me give you an example. A few years ago, I think it was about 2 or 3, I had made the decision that I wanted to do content creation, right? Outside of just like all the poetry and stuff that I post, like I actually wanted to do a little bit more like lifestyle, skin, because those are things that I'm like passionate about, like when it comes to skincare and just taking care of yourself and all of that kind of stuff. Like I love it. If you're around me, you're going to hear me speak about it, like how to just smell good, look good, feel good, all of those things. Those are just like things I love, all right? And I was like, oh, I actually want to start putting it out there, like on the socials and all of that kind of stuff. And it is now 2026. I still have not done that. I still have not put it out, right? And I think there are a few, there's a few reasons why that happens, right? So think about like, planning for things. I feel like I get stuck in the planning phase where I'm so excited and I'm thinking about how I want it to look and the color scheme I want to use and the audience I'm trying to attract and all of that kind of stuff. Like I get so excited of just thinking about the products and this and that and who I could be and who I could become and all of that kind of stuff. We always get so trapped in the dopamine hit we receive from planning for something, for imagining ourselves as our future versions of ourselves, for really daydreaming even of our highest selves or whatever, just living in that truth, living in that reality. But the issue is it's not your current reality. Another thing is like I would research so much, like how to do it, who is my target audience. When you go through that process, like how am I going to be great? I remember so many times I have had so many business ideas, guys, like in my life, so many things that I've thought of, so many ideas. I'm like, oh, I would love to do this, I'd love to, and I get so caught up in the planning, the research, the kind of putting it down and thinking about how I want to do it and all of that kind of stuff. Like it's such a rush, honestly, when I just get so invested in this thing that I'm like thinking of, But then I always just get so stuck because I always keep thinking like it's gonna happen, but but I'm not taking steps. I'm always just thinking like, okay, it'll happen when it happens, it'll happen in this and this and this, like there's always something somewhere where we slow down and it slows down our momentum, it slows down our motion, it slows down our drive and everything we have. You'll come up with so many different reasons, why an idea you had just never took off. Even though you were so passionate about it and looking forward to it and all of that kind of stuff. And you know what my issue was a lot of the time was that I just kept thinking it wasn't the right time, And last year, what had happened was I moved. I moved to a different apartment. And in this new apartment, so my previous apartment was a fully furnished apartment. This new apartment has nothing. Like it didn't even have a bed, a mattress, nothing. And I was like, there is no way I could film in this place. I was like, there's no way I could put anything up there, because I don't have a couch, I don't have a carpet, I don't have this, I don't have a mirror in my bathroom, I don't have so many things. Because in my mind, obviously, when you're watching other content creators do their thing, you're watching them 10 years in the game. You're watching them having done this, or, with all the resources and stuff. And, you just think, wow, that is the level and the quality of work that I want to produce, And for me, I just felt like I can't start this now. This cannot be, the level of work I'm putting out there where it's looking like, I'm starting from the beginning. But the truth is that is the beginning. I am at the beginning. And so that's what holds me back so often and so many times is like I'm always just waiting for the right time to let my ideas take off. I always just feel like it's not ready yet. I haven't invited anyone over to my apartment. It's been a year later. I still haven't invited anyone over because I'm just like, it's not ready yet. My closest friends, my friends who I've known for 20 plus years, I'm still like, it's not. I don't want you to see me like this. I think that's the thing. We hold a lot of shame and embarrassment and all of that kind of stuff in the beginning stage, right? We feel so cringe and stuff to expose ourselves in the beginning stage. And that's what holds us back so often all the time, because we're not ready for people to experience us like that. We're not ready to be seen, trying or, just in the mix, in the middle of a 10-year plan. We're not ready to be seen in the middle, in the beginning of something that could be so much more and stuff, because it feels so like, I feel so vulnerable. And I feel like if I had to post my stuff out there, I'm so afraid of people asking like, okay, but where's your headboard? Okay, but where's this? Okay, but where's that? But like, you don't understand yet. Like I'm working towards that. We're building towards those things happening. But right now, that's just not my reality, and I'm comfortable with it right now because I know my circumstances. I know, you know what I'm saying? And I'm still the same person that enjoys the content I'm trying to produce, I'm just in a different environment. And I think that when you remember that you are the talent, you are the skill, you are the thing that people are willing to watch and entertain and stuff again. I think we always put things off because we think it's just, there's so many excuses we come up with, right? And I will really validate it and it will make so much sense to me and stuff like that. I think when we really have to start thinking about why did I put something or why did I delay something, I think sometimes it also is that we don't believe in ourselves. Maybe there was a part of me that didn't believe I could actually do this. Maybe I'm just so caught up in thinking that like everybody knows me for my poetry. Who's going to take me seriously if I now start, doing that? Can I be multiple things? Can I be a writer, an author, a poet, and someone who cares about skincare and someone who's obsessed with beauty and all of that kind of stuff? Can I be all of those things? Like, can people still celebrate me for it and enjoy me for those things? Maybe I feel so scared because I'm like, I'm not going to make it. And a lot of the times we do that. We let fear take over and we don't think that we actually can be the person to have that business. We actually can be the person to have this type of partner, this type of relationship and all of that. So we put off throwing our shots. We put off actually asking and putting ourselves out there, asking people and things like that. Like I always say, the worst you can hear is no. But now you know and you can move on, and we just put it off for later. Like, no, I don't have the right body yet. No, I don't have the right skin yet, whatever. I don't have enough money yet. I don't have the right space yet. I don't have the right mentality yet, or whatever it is, my mindset's my this. I'm not this, I'm not that. And we will go on and on and on and on and off. And so we put things off all the time. I think that we can get stuck feeling overwhelmed. In the research phase, there's a lot of where I get overwhelmed because the more you know and the more you learn, the more you realize you don't know. The more you actually sitting there thinking like, what? I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what's going on and all of that kind of stuff. Because when you're just planning and the exciting phase of having ideas, you don't really have the full scope of what it takes to do this. But now when you're actually in it and learning what it takes to do it, it's like, whoa, I'm actually overwhelmed right now. And I think research can do that. Learning about other people's experiences and stuff can do that. If you're watching how other people got it and stuff, you can feel so overwhelmed about everything it takes, to be the person that you want to be. And I think I can get stuck feeling overwhelmed, like getting overwhelmed with like, what would people say? The comment section, all of that kind of stuff. Will it land? Will I get the views? Will I just get so overwhelmed and like the process of like having to be consistent, right? That's nothing. Like just because you create this content, you also have to have a work ethic that is consistent and disciplined. So when they're saying that you have to work with the algorithm and go every day and this and this and this, you're just like, that's insane. I'm so overwhelmed. You're just like, yeah, actually, I'm just going to put it off. And you think it's beyond your reach, you think it's beyond your depth and all of that kind of stuff. You feel like you're actually just reaching too high. So you let it go and you put it off. I do that. I get stuck in perfectionism, which is another reason why we put things off. As I said earlier, because my apartment isn't perfect, I don't even invite my friends to come see it because I'm just like, I'm not ready. I need it to be a certain kind of way, look a certain kind of way, feel a certain kind of way, and all that kind of stuff before I can welcome people, because I feel like I'm just not ready. And I do that with so many things in my life where I want it to be so to the T. I want it to be flawless. I want nobody to be able to fault what's going on, and being stuck in perfectionism is so frustrating. It's so frustrating for me because I think just the feeling of, yes, you did it, but it's not good enough. I think I get so plagued by that. And you just got to relinquish it and let it go, because everything is a journey, and a lot of the times people don't even care that much, for it to be the way that you are intending for it to be. Another thing with perfectionism is that it's never going to be perfect. It's never going to look exactly the way you want it to look in your mind and all of that kind of stuff. At some point you just have to allow. You just have to allow so that the transformation can happen, and the growth and all of that kind of stuff can happen. And it can't happen when you're so caught up in things looking a certain way that doesn't even exist, like that won't even ever exist. I think we can put things off because we feel a lack of support. Maybe we have a lack of support from our friends and family with the things that we want to do and accomplish and stuff. We might feel a lack of support financially. We might feel a lack of support in terms of the amount of time we need to put into something and stuff. Maybe we just don't feel supported in this area, and that's why we don't take things on. That's why we don't have the courage and the confidence and just that boost of self-esteem to believe that, like, I can do this and stuff. Like, we just get so arrested by this idea of, like, it's hard, it's too hard, and I'm not able enough, to accomplish and all of that kind of stuff. I think lack of support can make you so frustrated. Maybe you might be posting, you might be a content creator, but your views aren't reflecting the amount of effort it takes to put in, this video and all of that kind of stuff with a post and stuff. Maybe you're just not getting the engagement you aspire, and so you don't feel supported, and so it discourages you, and you just kind of put it off. You don't even try to keep going and stuff like that. I think that a lot of the times the reason we put things off is because we're waiting for someone to go with. One of the best decisions I ever made for myself, it was 3-4 years ago. I went to go see Ram Gold by myself. Ram Gold is one of my favorite artists. I love him so much. And I cried the entire time at that concert. It was amazing. And I went alone because I had no one to go with, but I could not fathom the thought of him being here in Johannesburg and me not seeing him, And I think that a lot of times we will say, okay, next, because, somebody cancels, somebody isn't able, somebody doesn't have the finances, somebody this and this and this, like somebody else's circumstances kind of influence what we do with our lives and our choices and stuff like that. I think me making that choice to go to that concert, sets me up for a lot of decisions moving forward, where if somebody else can't do it, I don't care. I am going to go live my life. I can't keep putting my life off waiting for somebody else, waiting to have someone to be there with me. I get it. It feels awkward. It feels like, oh my gosh, everyone's looking at me. I'm so lonely. I'm so this, I'm so that. But after some time, you realize no one's looking at you. No one cares that much. And you're getting to do the thing that you wanted to do, that you've worked so hard also to be able to attain them, the finances to be able to do the thing that you want to do and stuff like that. You've earned this. You deserve this, And I think don't wait for people. Don't wait for people. Don't wait for a partner. Don't wait for a friend or a family member or something. Go alone. And what's nice is you get to meet people there. It opens you up. That's what, every time I went to something alone, because I even went to like a jazz concert last year by myself and all that, like I got to meet really cool and lovely people. And I love that. I love the feeling of just challenging myself, because it's really tough for me to be around strangers until I, start feeling familiar and comfortable and stuff like that. And I feel like I've been developing those skills. I speak about it a lot on the podcast, where I'm like, I struggle networking because it's so like crazy for me to go approach people. But like, I think getting into the habit of going places by myself has like really given me the confidence. Has really given me the confidence to start doing it more often, to speak to people more often. I think a lot of the times why we put things off is we don't feel deserving. We don't feel deserving of the life we want. Not only do we not think that we can attain it, we don't feel like, I deserve this. I deserve this healthy relationship, this good person, this amazing person in my life. I deserve to have these finances. I deserve to live in this place. I deserve to have this career. A lot of times we feel like we don't, and so we won't go out for it because we carry a lot of guilt. Like, what are people going to say if I do this? Or like, am I even good enough for this? And all of that kind of stuff. And it holds us back. And oh man, you just got to believe in yourself. You got to believe that you are exactly where you're supposed to be, that this is where you're meant to be. And that the things that you have were always going to be on its way to you, because you're vibrating on the frequency that allows them to thrive in this area of your life, I think that we need to remember that later may never come. This thing that we are waiting for and all of that kind of stuff, it might never arrive. And that's what I'm saying. Time flies by so quickly. I told you I had this idea 3 years ago about wanting to be a content creator, and it still hasn't started. I can't believe it's 3 years, because in my mind it feels so fresh, like, oh yeah, like I'm going to be but I'm like, Zama, you've been saying that for years. You've been saying you're going to do this for years. Why haven't you? Why haven't you just gone out there and done it and just put all your energy into it and all of that kind of stuff? Like, why haven't you just really been excited? And I mean, I've been excited, but it's just like, what's holding you back? And that's something. Time goes by so quickly and we keep thinking later is going to come. Later might never come. I think there's always going to be something, because I only moved, as I said, last year. So what was my excuse the year before? What was my excuse the year before that? Something is always happening. I think that's what we always feel like. Oh, but there's just no time. There's no this. Something's happening. I've got to take care of this. I've got to take care of that. I've got to, all of these responsibilities and stuff like that. But that is life. There's always something happening, And I think if we keep putting things off, we're going to miss out on so much. I think that the problem can be that your environment changes, So I started getting comfortable with the idea of recording in my house in Durban, right? At my home in Durban. I was happy. I liked the lighting there. It was good. And I was there for a lot of months, when my mom was in hospital and all that kind of stuff. And so I was just like, this is going to be great. Then I had to move back to Joburg. My environment changed. Then I had to move to a different apartment. My environment changed again. And that's what I'm saying. Life just keeps happening. Your environment keeps changing, and you have to, if you keep putting things off, things are just going to keep changing and you're going to keep finding more reasons to not go for it and stuff like that. The plans change when you put things off. You might say, okay, in 6 months, I'm going to do this, and this. 6 months come and the circumstances are so different. The money that you once had is not there anymore. Or the people that you once had around you are not there anymore. Or this thing, when you just say, I'm going to do this later, you don't know what later is going to look like when you arrive there, And I think it's really important to note that and take that to heart, that if you don't just start now and get to it now, you have more control over the situation than when you're putting it off for later. Now you're starting off at an even crazier, back foot, because you didn't plan and didn't know that was going to happen. And I think that another problem with putting things off for later is that we live in a lot of regret. I regret, and I've mentioned this before, but I regret not starting my YouTube channel earlier. I regret only starting it last year when I could have started 2-3 years ago, 4 years ago, actually. And I feel like I would have been in a different place. It's the same thing with investing. We always say, I wish I started investing when I was 2 years old, and I'm 26 now. And I'm just like, I need to get a handle on it, because I'm going to regret 10 years from now. I'm going to regret that I didn't just start today, that I didn't just go ahead and, push forward today, that I didn't go learn that, I didn't go study that, I didn't go this. There's so many things. And I hate that feeling of regret, because you know better now. You have the information now, you have the autonomy now, you have the authority now. You can take control of your life now. And I don't want us to live in a state of like, I wish, if only I, and then you get so caught up in living in regret that you don't even think, okay, just start now. You're never too late to start, just start, because starting now is better than if, 10 years later I'm thinking, oh, now I wish I started 20 years ago and all of that. Just make life easier for yourself. I think the solution is to start with what you have. I need to get over my fear of exposing where I'm at right now in my, apartment stage, with not having the things that I want and stuff, but to just already start boldly creating work. I am a creative and I need to get back into this creative feeling of making a body of work. And I think until I get over it, which has to be now, honestly, it's going to hold me back a lot if I don't think about it. So just start with what I have. I have a phone. I have, my skincare, whatever, and I must just start. And that's what I want to tell you. You have this. I started this podcast recording off my phone. That's literally how it happened. And I think just start. At the very least, just start and work from there, build from there, and see what happens and all of that kind of stuff. Just stop putting it off. I'm begging you. And I think outwork your embarrassment also, outwork that feeling of shame and all of that kind of stuff, that cringy, whatever it is. You can always outwork embarrassment, because when it starts to work out, when it starts to actually be incredible and amazing and stuff like that, you did that based off of consistency and discipline. You were able to achieve that. You were able to build this life that you wanted and all that kind of stuff based on just being focused and concentrating on the thing that you want. And now what was once so embarrassing isn't anymore. What was once so exposing and stuff just isn't anymore. You can outwork. You can outwork that feeling. Hard work will be your best friend. Just kind of digging your heels into it and just going for it. And you're not going to feel what you thought you were going to feel. You're actually going to be so glad and so grateful that I didn't wait. Stop waiting. And that's with anything and everything, with your ideas, with your emotions, with the person you are trying to be with and stuff like that. Don't put it off for later. Go enjoy life now. Don't put your health journey off for later. You can start learning how to be healthy today and make healthier choices today. And that's really what I want to speak about today, is that there's so much of life that I'm so ready to live. And I keep thinking about it as if it's something way, way, way further, but it's actually here. It's here. It's now. I just need to make the decision that I'm ready. As always, I'm sending my love. Goodbye.
What in the 20s is going on?
In the 20s,
yes.
the 20s, baby.
What in the 20s is going on?
I'm here for my 20s, baby.
This is the 20s.